is Rhema's Breakfast Show, and today I have the pleasure of speaking to one of New Zealand's most beloved cookbook authors, Chelsea Winter. Now, since winning MasterChef in 2012 in New Zealand, you have captured the hearts of food lovers across the country, and you are all about accessible, delicious recipes. Now, I understand you have a brand new cookbook, Tasty, that launched yesterday, and it is a follow-up to your #1 bestseller, Supergood. So it's all about plant-based comfort food that's flexible and free from nasty things like cane sugar. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about what inspired this and what we can expect inside the covers of this tasty world. Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, I have a secret confession. I have had many a time in my life where I've needed a solid recipe in a hurry. For example, like chocolate chip cookies that won't fail and triple chocolate brownie. And I've done a quick Google and I have used a recipe of yours and it absolutely delivers. So I know that Tasty is a little bit of a pivot from some of that sort of stuff, your classic recipes. It is your 7th cookbook. So let's talk about why the pivot? You know, what inspired you to kind of change your focus with this plant-based, cane sugar-free food?
Well, it's interesting you say that because, you know, there is a brownie recipe in here. And so yes, it's a refined sugar-free cookbook, and it is plant-based again. Because with the roaring success of Supergood, it became very clear that there is definitely a need for it. Like people need plant-based recipes they can rely on, that taste good, that work, that carnivores love. And so the brownie, for example, was a challenge for me because I needed it to be as good as any brownie you get anywhere. But I also had to make it plant-based and refined sugar-free, right? So that's kind of like, that's the style of the book. It's nostalgic, delicious recipes that we all know and love with that twist on it, delivered in a way that you'd never know the difference. So it was a lot of work and it was hard for some of them, but I got there and the result's amazing. And it's just the recipes are designed for everybody, not just plant-based, you know, not vegans, not just vegetarians, but everyone who appreciates good food.
Yeah, so anyone who even loves the taste of a sugary, unhealthy chocolate brownie can sink their teeth into one of these and know that they've actually consumed something that's good for their body.
Yeah.
I love this.
Pretty
this is
much.
Great. This is so cool. Well, let's talk about the balance, because when you said it took a while to kind of get to this place, I'm picturing like a chemist, like, you know, in the lab trying to find the right concentrations and measurements of everything. But it's really a lot of persistent like trial and error, isn't it, to finding the exact right, you know, ingredients for these recipes. So how do you create this balance? Like, how do you balance making food that's both nutritious but then also easy to prepare, especially with, you know, so many people with a raft of different dietary needs?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like this is my 7th cookbook, So it's a bit of a case of the more you cook, the better you get. So, you know, 90-odd recipes in a book, 7 books, like that's a lot of cooking. So by this stage, I kind of understand ingredients and how they work. But it is trial and error. I mean, some recipes just work really quick. Some recipes I have to work on a lot, especially because, you know, coconut sugar and maple syrup, which I've used in this book and which I find I feel so different after eating like something that's made with coconut sugar, like a cake or like the chocolate cake on the cover, for example. That's coconut sugar and maple syrup, and the icing, which is like a chocolate buttercream, is made out of dates. And I just feel so much better after eating it than I would have if I had the full sugar version. But all those things behave in different ways. So that's where the trial and error comes in, because, you know, it's not going to be as fudgy if you just sub out cane sugar for coconut sugar. So it was a ride, and it was a very cool. It's cool. That's what I do. It's what I love. It's experiencing new like things, and it's my job. And
it's very creative, and it's wonderful to have a job like that you love, and you can be as creative as you want. And I love the fact that you've saved us all from wasting ingredients by playing around and trying to do our own substitutions, and then you end up making something that you just throw in the bin. So this is wonderful. I want to hear about your favourite dishes in Tasty. So you've got this brand new cookbook. It's really exciting. What are your picks?
Man, honestly, they change from day to day. The recipe I put at the front of the book's usually one that I'm crushing on the most, and this book it's the aloo palak, and it's really simple. It's a potato and spinach curry, an Indian curry, and
nice.
That's what I'd always order when I went to the Indian takeout, right? And I don't know, there's just something about it. It's this beautiful like aromatic spinachy sauce, and potatoes are one of my favorite things, and it looks beautiful, and you garnish it with all these delicious things, and so that's probably what I'm crushing on most at the moment. And in the sweet world, I have been making the brownie a bit, but there's the dreamy apricot slice, which is like an apricot shortcake type vibe. And it is just absolute heaven. Like, I mean, I actually can't make it much because I end up just eating far too much of it, like at a time. It's just like, even though it's, refined sugar free, like still eating half a slice in one
still
go
energy,
is not
right?
great.
It's good energy, but it's still energy. Oh, that's so cool. Well, I'm going to ask you a challenging question because I can imagine there's always a point in your life when they say choose a job you love and you'll never work a day of your life, and then you find this amazing thing that you're passionate about, and all of a sudden it's a job, and then the fun sort of minimizes a little bit. What has it been like for you? Like, have you ever had a moment where you've been challenged and you've had to try and, I don't know, rejuvenate your enthusiasm for writing recipes?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I do love what I do, and it doesn't feel like a job for me, but there are times when it is physically hard, like, putting a cookbook together, like for the shoot, is physically hard. Testing all those recipes is physically hard. I think after Eat, which was my 5th book, and that's kind of when I was like, oh man, I'm just not really feeling as inspired anymore. What am I doing? Like, where am I going? And had a bit of a shift, and that's when I started writing Supergood, because I was ready for a new kind of way of living and eating, and that was my first plant-based book, right? And at that point I was solely plant-based, and that's where Supergood came from. So yeah, there was something, a change needed at that point. And then of course after Supergood, then I sort of was like, what does my body need now? Actually, a solely plant-based diet isn't actually what I'm feeling right now, so let's just balance it up a bit more and start introducing new things. I mean, Tasty is still fully plant-based, but it's designed to be flexible, right? So if you want to add meat on the side, if you want to use dairy instead of the dairy-free options, you can. And so that's how I've designed it, and it's designed to bring that balance back into everybody's lives.
Well, I'm excited. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. When you talked about that chocolate cake on the cover with like dates and the ganache, is it?
Chocolate buttercream.
Yeah, and the chocolate buttercream.
You never know.
I am like, wow, how can you do this? And let me try it. So I'm excited to get a copy of Tasty myself. For people out there who want to get their hands on a copy, where can they go?
Any bookstore.
Anywhere.
Any bookstore, anywhere, and online. It's sold online as well. Just everywhere you go, you'll probably see Tasty there, and it'll change your life.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. Chelsea Winter joining me in the studio to talk about her brand new cookbook, Tasty, and it certainly sounds like it's going to live up to its name.
Amazing. I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn your notifications on so you don't miss the next video.
We'll see you in the next one.